Hello, everyone. After giving the fundamentals about laning in the last 5 podcasts, it's time to deal with this year's very special gap between those outside of Israel and those in Israel. For about 5 weeks, from Parsha Nasa all the way to Parsha Chukat, Israel's going to be one Parsha ahead than those outside of Israel. And the question is, do you have to make it up? In other words, Friday comes. In Israel, say they're reading Parshat Ba'alotcha. Outside of Israel, they're reading Parshat Naso. In Israel, they're reading Parshat Shlach. Outside of Israel, they're reading Parshat Ba'alotcha. Should you go out of your way to find 9 other people in the same situation as you, make a minyan that you'll read that Parsha and maybe make up the next Parsha so you'll be on the same page as Israel if you're planning a long stay. So, we do have a precedent in which the Ramah says, in the name of the Or Zarua, im bitlu Shabbat echad kriyat parsha betzibur, if the shuls were closed, like unfortunately happened during COVID and during the wars in Israel, l'Shabbat ha'ba'ah korin ota parasha im parasha shayechet lo ota Shabbat. The week afterwards, you read 2 parshas. So, we do have something that's similar in this situation, but it's not that they canceled it. Outside of Israel, there was a Torah reading. Inside of Israel, there was a Torah reading. You happen to not be in that place, and you personally have to make it up. In the book called Yom Tov Sheni Kehilchato, that I'm holding in my hands, written by Rabbi Yechmiel David Fried, he brings on this issue 2 positions and one additional one that he totally rejects. The first position is in the name of Rab David Morgenstern, that heard in the name of Rab Elyashiv, that when you have a situation like this, then when you come to Israel, in which they're one parsha ahead of you, yesh lo lihishtadel lishmoa kriya shechasera lo, av she'ein chiyuv badavar. Velechatchila, efshar lasot minyan, שיקראו 2 פרשיות, את הפרשה שחסרה להם והפרשה שקוראים לסדר בני ארץ ישראל. So, according to Rav Elyashiv, even though it's not obligatory, it's a good idea to make a minyan of 9 others like you and read 2 parshas so that you'll be on the same page as Israel. Obviously, Rav Elyashiv said it's not obligatory, but on the other hand, it's a good idea, because he's probably debating, is it a chovat hatzibur or chovat hayachid? If it's a communal obligation, you don't have to make it up. If it's a personal obligation, albeit you have to do it in a minyan, you do have to make it up. So because of that, he says it's not obligatory totally, but it's a good idea. Read it like a double parsha. How do we read a double parsha? 3 aliyahs in parsha number 1, 3 aliyahs in parsha number 2, and the merger is Revi'i, the 4th aliyah. Position number 2, as he heard it from Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, and b'nei chutz la'aretz hanimtza'im be'eretz Yisrael chayavim la'asot minyanim la'atzmam v'likrot k'fi seder hakriya shebechutz la'aretz. There is no obligation whatsoever to make up the missing parsha. Finished. It's totally a communal obligation. It wasn't on your head because you weren't in a community that Shabbos. You read the right parsha last Shabbos. You're going to read a parsha this Shabbos. The one you missed is not your obligation to make up. But Rav Shlomo Zalman says, Achin ken rotzim, if you want to, there's no problem. What you'll do is, you'll read the whole parsha of last week that you missed as aliyah number 1, add to it the Kohen aliyah of the parsha in Israel, and then from Sheni and on, read like Israel. Those are the 2 positions. Position number 3, he totally rejects. He heard that Rav Moshe Feinstein paskent that if you're going to be in Israel for a visit from Chutz La'aretz, every Shabbos you're there, continue to read like in Chutz La'aretz, so that you're always going to be a Ben Chutz La'aretz acting as such even in Israel. On the one hand, it's not totally preposterous. There are many Jews that come to Israel for Yontif, and they celebrate 2 days Yontif as if their feet are in New York or Australia. But on the other hand, you're going to be there for maybe 2-3 weeks, and every single Shabbos you have to make a separate minyan and read the Parsha like they're going to read in Chutz La'aretz. You can't go to a shul of your choice. You got to go to the same shul with the same people every single week. He totally rejects this. He says, Shamati mitalmidei yeshiva Panovich, that Rav Shach, the legendary Rosh Yeshiva, heard this. Tamal shmuazo. He thought it was a little crazy. V'chein shamati ma'agrasha Zoyerbach, and he heard from Rav Shobel Zalman Auerbach, litmoa al shmuazo. Litmoa means, I can't understand it, because it really does make no sense. You have to assume that it's a personal obligation. You also have to assume that that personal obligation continues even though your feet are in Israel. And those two assumptions are a little too much. And therefore, that position he totally rejects. So we're left with 2 positions. You have to make a separate minyan on that first Shabbos you're there to make up the missing Parsha, or it's not considered a missing Parsha. It was a communal obligation, and it remains a communal obligation, not upon your head to make up whatsoever. All this is true regarding actually laining that missing Parsha. However, there is a personal obligation regarding laining, and that is what we call Shnayim Mikra ve'echad Targum. Some people call it in Chinese Ma'aver Sedra. Every single week, the Gemara in Brachos Daf Ched says that you're supposed to read the Parsha personally. Shtayim Mikra, 2 times the Psukim, ve'echad Targum, the translation. Suffice it to say, you have a personal obligation. Well, which Parsha do you read? You come from Chutz La'aretz to Israel, you come from Israel to Chutz La'aretz. What do you do? More about that in the next few podcasts.
Hashem Yeshorim